React. We're going to be looking at the bare minimum of what you need to know to get a job with React in just a second, actually, like getting into the code. But before we do, I just wanted to quickly show you what React is actually even useful for. So it's useful for making something called single page apps. And this is an example right here. Single page apps are websites that really are just one page. Now, granted, there are some links up here that we can click, but you'll notice while I'm clicking through these, some of these things up here at the top aren't actually changing. Granted, down here they are changing, but up at the top, they aren't. And that's one of the useful things about React. Because it's only switching out the things on the page that actually need to change, the web apps end up feeling a lot snappier to the user. It feels more like an app and less like a traditional website. So kind of breaks these things up into different sections of the website, or what they call components. We have this get started area or component, we have this on this page component, we have the nav bar with the search bar and different links on here as another different component, and maybe this main area down here is another component. So that's what's useful about React, is that it can make it really snappy and kind of feel more like an app to the user instead of a traditional website. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, to get started, we'll just need to get one quick thing. It's called Node.js. And you can just go ahead and search for it here. And you may have heard of it before, but it just lets JavaScript run on our computer instead of only in the browser. And once we download and install it, we should be all set to go. So I'm just going to open up VS Code and open up a folder. And it can be any folder on our computer, just where we're going to make the React app. Now, once we're done with that, we're going to click Terminal and click on New Terminal. And if you've used the terminal before, you may be familiar with this. If you haven't, totally fine. We're going to be doing something super simple. We're just going to copy and paste something in here that's going to make our React app for us. So if you just go to Google and search for something called Vite, that's what's going to allow us to do that. So we'll just click on this Get Started button and scroll down until we get to the section called Scaffolding Your First Vite Project. And we'll see this area where it says with NPM. And NPM is something that just comes installed with Node.js. And it's something that's just going to install all of the things that our React app will need. So all you got to do to use it is just copy this and paste it in the terminal. That's it. We'll press enter and ask us some questions like what we want to name the project. And I'm just going to call it my first React app, and press enter. And then it's going to give us some options of what kind of app we want to make. So the one we want to make is React, and we're going to use JavaScript with ours. Nice. So that's it. It's done. And if we look at our folder, we see that, yep, it's created a new folder for our React app. And it made all the files we need now. So we're all set to go. And it's given us some instructions to run here. So let's just copy these. We're going to change what folder we're in into our new folder that we just made. We'll change directory to my first React app. And then we're going to copy and paste npm install to install all the things that our React app needs. And this might take a couple of seconds. So it did that. I'm going to scroll back up to get that last thing it told us to do, npm run dev. So this will actually run our app for us. I'll just copy and paste that in. So this is saying it's running. So we can just control or command click on this to open up our app in the browser. And I have a very unique scenario. I don't think you'll have a problem opening that, but just in case you do, I'm just going to add a new property here. We could just change the port to something else like 8001 or something. So if it didn't open up for you, you can just try doing that. And when you do, you should see this on the page. So this is an actual React app, and you've actually made one. Granted, you made the basic one, but we're going to make some changes here. First thing we're going to do is just get rid of some of these things here, because I just want us to be able to see just how simple React is first, so we don't get intimidated by things. So we'll just go to the source folder here, and we'll just delete a couple of these files here. We have an app.css. We just go ahead and delete that. And the index.css, we can also delete that file. Nice. So if we just open up our app.jsx, we will see some things in here that should be familiar. Now, yeah, there's some new stuff up here, but hey, look, this looks familiar. This is just regular HTML. Now, this is just way more complicated of an example than we need to start out with, I think. So we're actually going to just get rid of everything inside of this return. Let's go ahead and just get rid of everything in there. And we're also going to get rid of this use state, as well as all these imports up here, because we're not using them anymore. And now this file is looking way more simple than what we started out with. So we'll save this, and there's one more change we'll have to do to the main.jsx file. In here, we got rid of the index.css, so let's just get rid of that import and save. Oh, and it's still giving us an error. So also in the app.jsx file, let's also get rid of this return. We'll add it back in just a second. But now when we save, we get just a normal page, just a regular page on the screen. This is what we're used to, right? So I'm actually just going to open this up side by side with VS Code so we can take a look at both at the same time. Okay, great. So we're all set. Super simple. Now what you're looking at right now is a component. This is what a component looks like. It's just a function. It's a regular JavaScript function. And whatever we write in this return is actually going to show up on the screen. All we got to do is put these parentheses after the return, and we can write any HTML we want in here, and it'll show up on the screen. So for example, I could just do like a p tag and say, this is a paragraph. And just like that, it's going to show up on the screen in the app. So this is basically how React works. It might seem like it's gonna be like this new, very complicated thing, but in essence, it really is just, hey, I get to now write HTML in my JavaScript files, and it shows up on the screen. So there's some other things that we can do that make React really cool, but in essence, it's really super simple. It really is just, hey, we have a function, and whatever HTML we write in the return is just going to show up on the screen. So in the next video, we're going to look at how to make our own components, because right now we're just using the base one, and how to kind of start organizing those components to actually make a full React app. So I'm really excited, and I hope that's helpful. If you'd like to support and allow me the time to think of ways to help others feel less intimidated by tech, feel free to check out my link below to my Patreon. And as always, may the odds be ever in your favor and the snacks be ever in your bag.